Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 4, Reunion Part 1, and baby, let me tell you something, the ladies did not disappoint. I was pleasantly surprised, especially since it's been a very so-so season. The Miami girls said they are getting their contract signed for Season 5. They said we will not be on hiatus yet again. They are bringing all the drama. But before we get started, I just have to say a big thank you to my friends over at Dossier for sending me some amazing scents. And if you are not familiar with Dossier, they believe that you do not have to break the bank to smell luxurious, all right? So we are going to open up these fabulous boxes and I'm going to try on these scents. So I'm going to be trying on the first scent, which is a citrus neroli, and I'm excited because I love a neroli. I love a citrusy feel. I'm a big fragrance girl, so this is right up my alley. So without further ado, let's open. Ooh, look at the box. How gorgeous. I love good packaging. Iconic scents, designer qualities, and no markups. So this is the citrus neroli, and how pretty is the packaging? Gorgeous. The notes in the citrus neroli are neroli, bergamot, mandarin, lemon. The middle notes are orange blossom, jasmine, and lavender. And then the base notes are musks and amber. And this scent is actually inspired by Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. So you know this is going to smell absolutely amazing. So I am now going to test out the citrus neroli on my left arm, okay? Oh my gosh, this smells so good. This scent reminds me of I'm on South Beach at the Ritz-Carlton. This is just luxury, just the wealth. I'm loving this. It's very beachy. It's the perfect fragrance, especially if you love a citrus. If you're going out in the summertime, I will definitely be wearing this like all summer long. I'm very excited. This was a hit. I have good taste, I do have to say. I don't know why I'm acting so surprised. Like, of course I would pick out a winner. The next scent that I picked out was the woody sandalwood. But before I test out the second fragrance, I'm going to quickly smell some coffee grounds to just cleanse my palate since we just tried out the citrus neroli, all right? It's a trick I learned from my grandma and my mom when it came to testing fragrance. Okay, all right, guys. So this is the woody sandalwood. Oh my gosh, I already know I'm going to love this. Like, I just know it. I know it. I can tell this is going to be my new favorite fragrance. So this is the woody sandalwood. So the top notes in this fragrance are violet leaves, cardamom. The middle notes are orris, ambrox, cedarwood, and cypriol. And the base notes are musk, sandalwood, and amber. The woody sandalwood fragrance is inspired by Le Labo Santal 33 perfume. So I'm super excited about that. I have some fabulous fragrances as well. So I already know that I'm in for a treat. I love a nice musk. I love a sandalwood. I'm very excited to try this out. All right, guys, here goes the woody sandalwood. All right, let me smell. Oh, that smells heavenly. I love a nice musk. The sandalwood is perfect. This is a scent that I would wear for a date night. Like, this citrus neroli is for the girls. This is for your man, okay? I love this. I am in love with both fragrances. Both fragrances give you a different vibe, but they are equally fabulous. These are also fabulous gift ideas. Think about if you want to give your mom a perfect customized perfume, if you're a bride-to-be and you're thinking of a cute bridesmaid's gift to give to your girls, definitely check Dossier out. And again, I have all the information for you down below in my description box. And let me know what you pick out. So I hope you all enjoyed that fabulous segment. And now it is time to jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. Now, Miss Larsa, while I was on your side for the past 3 episodes, I'm about to wear you out because at this reunion, you tried it several times. But again, let me not jump ahead. So we start off this reunion episode with all the ladies on a private jet, and they are leaving sunny Miami to come to the rainy and super cold New York to tape the reunion. Now, Salt Lake City and Potomac, I need you ladies to take notes because the Miami girls brought it with the fashions. I thought that everybody looked incredible, minus Marysol and Adriana, what they had going on. I was like, y'all missed the mark. But I thought that everybody else on the main cast hit it out of the park. Now, did Julia slip a producer $50 under the door? Because I want to know, how was she in the first seat next to Andy? I said Julia didn't bring nearly enough to be sitting in the first seat. She needed to be at the end, just like Lisa was at the end. So all of the ladies are arriving to the stage. They're greeting Andy. And of course, they're waiting for Lisa because Lisa is always late because it's always about her. I'm like, you do know that you are holding your boss up, right? I just have been finding Lisa to be so aggravating this entire season, and I don't remember her being so annoying. And when she came onto the stage, she still wasn't ready. She was like, well, Andy, I still have to put my jewelry on. And he was like, well, why didn't you do that in the trailer? He was like, girl, can you hurry up? You're holding everything up. And he was really annoyed. Lisa, high key, does not need to come back for the next season. If she is back, it needs to be because she's a friend of the show and not a main cast member. She doesn't bring anything. So Lisa finally puts her jewelry on, and Andy is ready to start this reunion. He's super excited to have his Miami ladies back. And per Larsa's request, they are starting off this spicy reunion with a shot of tequila. And Andy starts it off with Alexia. He says, Alexia, you have been through quite a lot this season, some high highs and some low lows, but nevertheless, you prevailed. So he's asking her about her St. Bart's wedding with her and Todd, and she says that she was really happy, Todd was super happy, and in her heart, she did the right thing. So now Andy brings up Alexia's troubled and very spoiled son, Peter, and his recent domestic violence charges against him. So Alexia is already annoyed, and she's like, well, they're allegations. Peter has legal counsel, and we're not at liberty to talk about it. But we're denying all the charges, and that's that. I was just kind of like, Alexia, it really kills you to tell the truth about your son. Nobody is saying not to love your son. What we are saying is you need to tell him to man up, take responsibility for his actions, get a job, and stop with all this wayward activity. I said this is why he's in the boat that he's in now, because nobody has the good sense to sit him down and tell him, you know what, son, here's what you need to be doing. You know, if you don't get it together, I'm going to be cutting you off financially, period, point blank. I think it's a real shame that Alexia is enabling this behavior, and it's only going to get worse if she's going to turn a blind eye to it. I was like, Alexia, you sound so stupid. And then when Andy read one of the viewer questions about Peter's behavior and how this isn't his first incident, because remember how he kicked that homeless man, and Alexia's making more excuses talking about, well, when that incident happened, his brother Frankie was in the ICU and he was going through so much because his brother could have died. I'm like, so because his brother was suffering from a horrible accident, that gives him the right to kick a homeless person? Are you kidding me? It's just like, what's going on? It's always an excuse with Alexia, always. So since Andy sees that Alexia is going to condone her son's behavior, he moves on to Nicole. So he's asking Dr. Nicole to show her gorgeous 10-carat diamond ring from her fiance, Anthony, and that ring was everything. I said, okay, all right, that's the ring that I want from Cartier, okay? So Andy's asking Nicole if she plans on signing a prenup, So Nicole says, I mean, we haven't talked about that yet, but if I had to guess, I would say probably. And prenups are not necessarily a bad thing when the man has money, because you can put in so many clauses. You can put a cheating clause, like if you cheat on me, I'm walking away with $5 million. You can have, for every year we're married, I'm getting this. If we're married for 10 years, I'm getting that. So, I mean, I feel like Nicole is going to be set either way. So now Andy reads another viewer question from somebody in Spain, and the question reads, Nicole, why did you act like you were happy if Anthony didn't marry you, but now here you are happy to be married? So Nicole says, well, it was never about me getting married. It was about me being happy. And I was happy before Anthony proposed, and I'm happy now that he's proposed. Like, I'm happy either way. Now remember, Nicole and Anthony have a 2-year-old son. So of course, this discussion leads into the whole out of wedlock comment that Larsa made. So now Larsa says, there was so much controversy when I said that. Julia interjects and says, you should have never said that. Like, that was really ignorant of you. You had no right to say that, especially when you sell sexy pictures of yourself for $4 to $5 a pop. Like, you're no one to talk. So, of course, since Larsa can't own up to anything either, she's trying to clean up what she said, and she's like, I was just saying the definition of wedlock. Like, all I was just trying to say was, if you already live together and have a kid together, you might as well make it official and just get married. That's all I was saying. So now Nicole says, no, you meant it as a jab. And she did. So now Julia says, at the end of the day, Larsa, what you said was very nasty and cruel, and you hurt millions of people because many people have kids without being married. So now Nicole piggybacks off of Julia, and she's like, Larsa, you know that people create families in different ways. Like, me and Anthony aren't married yet. Lisa and Lenny, they created their family differently because remember that Lisa had a surrogate for both of her kids. And then Nicole says, and look at Andy. He created his family a different way too. So Andy agrees with Nicole and Julia, and Larsa was just really being so annoying. I was like, Larsa, all you need to say is, I'm sorry. Period, point blank. You were rude. And I'm really surprised at how somebody like you, who isn't traditional, is so self-righteous. You're the same woman who is dating Future, dating other athletes and actors and everybody else under the sun while you were still legally married to Scottie Pippen. So somebody could say to you that you're an adulterer. And please spare me with the, well, me and Scottie, we're living 2 separate lives and we hadn't been together in years. It doesn't matter. The ink on that paper still said legally married. I just find it very strange that Larsa thinks that she is the pillar of morality. And guys, I did not mean to scream, but Larsa really just enraged me. The fact that she was trying to double down on her ignorance really pissed me off. If there are times where I'm shouting, just turn the volume down, but you guys know how I get when I get heated. But that's good though, because you'd rather watch me lively, you know what I'm saying? But Larsa really angered me to no end. I was happy that Julia showed up with her game face, because like I told you guys in past recaps, I found Julia to be annoying, kind of goofy, and just boring. But at this reunion, honey, she turned it all the way up and said, no, I will be asked back with a contract. But she was getting on Larsa. She was letting Larsa know every single minute that she was dead wrong for that wedlock comment. So we see Andy letting all the ladies have a quick 15-minute break. And we see Larsa telling Lisa that she's about to tear Julia's ass up later on in this reunion. I said, girl, just shut up, take the L, and apologize when you're wrong. So break time is over, and all the ladies come back onto the stage, and they have Adriana and Marysol with them. Marysol, as always, looks terrible, and she's really trying to make a moment with that cup. I'm like, sis, you're still not cool. Like, we don't care. Put that bejeweled Starbucks cup down and just stop. It's like, Marysol, girl. And even Andy wasn't that amused. He was like, okay, I mean, you have this big cup with you, like, what's in it? And she was like, oh, it's Tito's vodka and lemonade. I'm like, why are you downing vodka like it's water? And you know good and well that you need to be sharp for this reunion. So now here's where things get messy. Andy does a side-by-side of all the women when they first joined the show about 8 years ago to now. Now Marysol, she still looks the same. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to let you decide if the same in her case means good. Okay? So now the topic pivots to who in this group besides Lisa and Larsa has had plastic surgery. Larsa makes a face, and it's like, why are you making a face? We all know that you've had plastic surgery. You can look at yourself in the mirror and you know what's up. Like, why are you trying to pretend? Alexia says that she had her original boobs in for 30 years and then she got them redone, but she didn't go to Lisa's husband, Lenny. And Lisa is visibly upset by that. So Alexia says, it's no shade, sis. I just didn't want your husband seeing my boobs. I said, Alexia, please stop playing. You just didn't want to put any money into Lisa's pockets so that she could get a new Birkin. Let's just call a spade a spade. So now Andy turns to Larsa and he's asking her, why did she get so much work done? Because she looked completely different. So now Andy goes on to ask, did you get all the surgery to compete since you were hanging out with the Kardashians? Like, why? So now Larsa says, well, I did it because I'm progressive. I'm all about following the trends and I like to look good. So if there's a new procedure out, I'll do it. Now, let me just say, I am pro plastic surgery. If you're going to get it done, please go to the best doctor, all right? Now, with that being said, a pet peeve of mine is when we can all see that you've had surgery and you're going to sit up here and just outright lie and say that you haven't had anything done. Larsa was honest about her nose, her boobs, her lips, and that's about it. When it came to Andy asking about her butt, this woman twists her lips to say no, she did not get a BBL, and how her butt is natural because she gained 40 pounds. Do not sit up here and play on our intelligence. Her butt looks very fake. Like, I just don't understand who Larsa is trying to fool. And I was like, Larsa, the fact that you can't be honest with yourself or with anybody else is very sad and it's very telling. You've already copped to everything else being done. Just be honest about your butt. We all know it's fake. Just say, yeah, you know, I got it done. Like, why is that so hard? But then Larsa wants to call somebody else a liar. And it's like, no, sis, you're a liar as well. And she lies about the dumbest things and the most obvious things. So, of course, Miss Adriana interjects and she's like, stop. Like, your butt is fake. Why are you lying? You're trying to look like Kim Kardashian. Like, please stop. So now Andy says, well, when Adriana puts it that way, you actually do look like your old friend. And on top of that, you sound like her too. So now Larsa says, well, we were best friends for 14 years, and you know how when you're friends with somebody or you're dating somebody, their mannerisms rub off on you. There's a difference between, yes, you pick up similar habits, or you might say the same phrases as your friends because y'all are always around each other, but to mimic their style completely, it's giving very much single white female. Like, she looks like a carbon cutout of her former friend. Like, you don't think that that's weird? Obviously, there's nothing wrong with keeping up with the trends and looking stylish and amazing, but to look just like your friend when you did not look like her before, it's a bit strange. So now we move on to the Gerdy portion of this reunion, and Andy is asking her about how is her quiet firefighter husband loving all this newfound attention. Gerdy says, yeah, he's not really used to it quite yet, but, you know, he's enjoying it. And on top of that, the other firefighters definitely tease him about being on the show. I said, yeah, just give it a few more seasons, Gerdy, because your husband will go from quiet and shy to the life of the party, and now he'll want to be a celebrity himself. So it's always the quiet ones who secretly want some fame and attention. I said, So now Andy brings up Gerdy's charity event for Haiti, and we find out that quite a few of these wealthy ladies who have Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and Bentleys and Bugattis had the nerve to not donate to Gerdy's charity. Now, quick side note, when that episode aired, I remember saying, that's kind of strange to me that she didn't reach her target. Her target was only $25,000 and she only reached 18. And I was feeling like all these women have Cartier love bracelets from here to here, but they can't write a hefty check. Like, that's unacceptable. And it was really funny when Gerdy said, and the QR code, if you want to donate, is right behind me, and I'll be accepting donations all night. And she said, and I know who gave and who didn't.
With your broke ass.
So, baby, Andy goes on to ask, well, who in this group didn't give? So now Marysol and Alexia start stammering and stuttering, and they're like, well, we just didn't know, we had no idea. So Andy's like, you had no idea, but it was a charity event. Like, make it make sense. People who have a lot of money, who are very generous with themselves, but when it comes to giving to others, now they have alligator arms. Now all of a sudden you can't find your platinum or black American Express card. Now you don't know where your checkbook is. Now you just don't know, I didn't know I had to give. Like, what are you saying? The same way you swipe your card at Neiman's and Saks at Bal Harbor, you need to swipe your card for her charity event. That was unacceptable. So then Alexia and Marysol clean it up by saying that they donated some of the dresses that were modeled in the fashion show. And I said, again, that's very nice, but it's also nicer if you open up your checkbook. So now they change gears in the conversation and they bring up all the drama that happened at Julia's birthday party. So Andy reads a viewer's question about why was Gerdy starting trouble by repeatedly discussing the foot massage that Julia gave to Adriana. So Gerdy says, look, I don't want no problems. I own up to it. That was petty of me. I shouldn't have said anything. And I remember thinking the same thing, like, Gerdy, you were doing the most in that episode. I was just kind of like, I don't understand why you're just so hell-bent about Martina finding out about this foot massage. Like, Martina was going to see it eventually when the show aired. You didn't need to keep repeating it and making things awkward. So while Gerdy is apologizing for bringing that up, she goes on to say, but on the flip side, Adriana kept poking me. She was being nasty about my decorations for the party, and I didn't appreciate that, so that was my retaliation. Then Gerdy adds on that she felt like Adriana was being a party pooper, and on top of that, Adriana seems to be very jealous of everybody in this group. So now Adriana says, you know what, Gerdy, I'm very sorry for my actions. I didn't mean to be rude. You do a great job as a party planner, and I would never try to disparage you. So Adriana definitely got half a point for me for being the bigger person and apologizing, because her behavior in that episode was also very nasty and uncalled for. Now Andy reads another viewer question about why did Gerdy make everything about her when Julia was sharing the story about what happened with her son. So Gerdy is already getting emotional and she's like, you know what, I am so sorry for that. That wasn't my intention. I thought that Julia was talking about a miscarriage. I didn't know she was talking about her son being killed. So now Gerdy is just like profusely apologizing. And Julia says, I forgive you, I don't hold grudges, but I will say that it was a miscommunication. And in that moment, I felt like you weren't expressing any empathy about my situation. And Gerdy, while I understand that you weren't trying to do anything on purpose or take the attention off of Julia, I do think that you need to work on your listening skills because you talk way too much. And that's not being shady, that's not being mean, but just reel it in. Just reel it in, sis. Let people get a word in edgewise and just listen. In that moment, Julia should have had the floor. So now we see Andy talking to Larsa for a brief moment about the Last Dance documentary that was about Michael Jordan. And that was one of the best documentaries I have ever seen. I actually got teary-eyed when that last episode aired. But anyhow, he's like, you know, that documentary really put Scottie in a better light than Michael Jordan. And then he's asking Larsa about, was Scottie faithful to her? So Larsa says, yes, he was faithful to me. He was great. I said, now Larsa is giving a bit delusional. Scottie was with Michael Jordan in the prime of both their careers. There were a lot of stories about Michael Jordan when he was married to Juanita, okay? Him and Michael were always hanging around. I know there were always women around. You were home with 4 kids. Scottie also has a past with other women and other children, okay? I don't believe for a minute that he was faithful. Now, that's just my personal opinion, but when you look into Scottie and his life, I just don't think he was faithful. But I said, you know what? It doesn't matter now because they're divorced. So whatever Larsa wants to believe, God bless. Maybe early on he was faithful, but then look at the state of your marriage in the later years before you guys got divorced. Do you really think that while you were out dating rappers while still being legally married that he was sitting home twiddling his thumbs? So, like, what are you saying? So now it's Larsa's turn in this reunion, and Andy starts discussing her OnlyFans. So now Andy reads a viewer's comments about how weird and slightly inappropriate it is for Larsa to have her daughter take pictures of her for her OnlyFans. So Larsa's like, my kids are great kids, all right? They know what I'm doing. They have straight A's. They speak 4 languages. And it's like, sis, but like, what does that have to do with anything? You can't get a tripod or get one of your assistants to take pictures of you for your OnlyFans. Like, it's just so funny how Larsa likes to point fingers at other people, but then when somebody dissects her life, now she wants to get defensive. Then Larsa says that all of her friends are on OnlyFans, so it's not weird. So now Adriana raises her hand that she would have done OnlyFans, but then when she asked her son about it, he was like, no, Mom, that's pornography. So she says that her relationship with her son is more important than making money. But I'm like, everybody on OnlyFans isn't doing porn, so if she did want to sell some feet pics, I think that she should do it. Like, Adriana, your son will be okay if you sell some feet pics. Be like, hey, mommy just made a couple $100,000 off of these feet, all right? Like, this is helping pay your college tuition.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
So Larsa says, look, at the end of the day, I'm single, I'm open, people message me all the time, so if they want to message me, why shouldn't I make money off of it? And I said, I know that's right. Larsa reiterates that she's never done nudes, and how if she ever did send a nude, she needs to be paid like $100 million. And also, let's just be real. If Larsa was doing porn, if she was getting naked, I mean, somebody who follows her on that site would have screen recorded it and leaked it to the blogs. So, I mean, it's evident that she's telling the truth about not getting naked on there. Now it's time to discuss Larsa's divorce. She is finally single after almost 25 years of marriage. She gets emotional, and it's just so funny to me how these women will cry but not one tear comes out. So of course, her relationship with Future comes up, and she says, well, our marriage had already gone to the wayside before me and Future got together. And I said again, I wish one of the women would have said, but sis, you were still legally married when you were messing around with Future. So you were still in the wrong. Like, if your marriage had been over for all that time, then y'all should have gotten a divorce right then and there. Andy goes on to ask if she and Scottie had a prenup. She says that they did, but it dissolved after 10 years, so she got half of everything. So she's sitting on some major coin, and she says that she deserves every dime. So we finally move away from Larsa, and now it's time to discuss Julia. We learn a lot about Julia in this segment, and when I tell you that my heart really goes out to her, and the fact that she is still standing after going through such a horrific event is just mind-blowing. Andy starts it off saying that he was super excited to have the first same-sex couple on a Housewives franchise, and how he was so excited that Julia was married to Martina. Then we find out that both of Julia's parents were really supportive of her when she broke the news to them that she was going to get married to Martina. So then we find out that Julia's daughters, they love Martina now, and Martina is a hands-on step-parent, but when Martina came into their lives, they were 2 and 6, and they were not feeling her at all. So of course, Andy starts to ask about what happened to her baby boy. Julia says that he was born on March 10th, 2000, and the baby's father was a very powerful, well-connected European man named Edward Stern. She was super young when she met Edward, and how it was one of the biggest misfortunes of her life to have met him. Now, Andy brings up the story that he heard about Julia's baby father, Edward Stern, dying. So now Julia says, yes, I know, we've all heard the story. And she goes on to tell the story about how Edward was with this woman who was his girlfriend at the time. And she said that one day the woman approached her and she pretended to be somebody else. The woman invited her out to have coffee, and she kept asking Julia if she and Edward were still having sex. So Julia put 2 and 2 together that this must be his girlfriend, because why on earth would you be asking about my relations with somebody else? So Julia says that the woman kept pestering her to tell her if she and Edward were still having sex, and then she says to her, if you tell me the truth, then I'll tell you the truth about what I know about what happened to your baby boy. So now Julia says that she collapsed into the chair. She couldn't hear anymore. She couldn't even see straight. Like, she was just beyond shocked at what she just heard. So we find out that 5 months later, this crazy woman shot Edward while they were having a private moment. And they were really into bondage. So she shot him while he was all covered in latex. I said, that is crazy. I mean, this one story alone, I said Julia could write a book, because this is something that you would only see on TV. So everybody is shocked by this story. Andy starts asking Julia if Edward had anything to do with the death of their baby son. And Julia goes on to add that she was working with his secretary at the time, and she was putting up, posters looking for a nanny. So she says that 2 days later, a Bulgarian woman comes, she's super qualified, and then the next thing you know, their son is dead. The nanny has never been found till this day, and Julia is hoping that one day she'll find the nanny. That woman needs to be under the jail. Like, how evil are you? I mean, I can't even imagine. And when Julia was telling the story, she was so composed. When I tell you, I would have been on the floor like, Andy, next question, please. I can't talk about this. So Julia is emotional, as anybody would be. And now Adriana interjects and says that her son was born the same year as her son, Alex. And she says, they would have been the same age if he were still alive, and how she and Julia bonded over this. And I was like, Adriana, I understand that you want to comfort your friend, but let Julia have the floor and the attention. I feel like sometimes Adriana does a lot of attention-seeking stuff. Like, it's not about you right now. And allow Julia to have this moment. So now we get to the final portion of this reunion, and we see that Dr. Nicole is now on the hot seat. Andy is joking around about how does she have so much money, and she says, well, that's because of Anthony. He's a very good lawyer. So we get right on into the drama with the dinner from hell when all the ladies were in Montauk. So they play the clip of Marysol starting trouble and accusing Nicole of talking about Lisa, Alexia, and Larsa. And Nicole, you can see, is getting angry all over again. So Andy starts it off by asking Marysol, why did Marysol feel the need to reveal this at that dinner? Marysol says, well, I don't know. I had known this for quite some time, but I kept it in. I was like, Marysol, I think you're lying. I don't believe that Nicole said any of the stuff that you're implying. If you really had the receipts, you would have shown them by now. Like, I can't get with he said, she said. And I think that Marysol is very jealous as well. And I think that she feels threatened and intimidated by Dr. Nicole. Because again, Dr. Nicole is younger. She looks good. She has a great life, a fabulous home, a 10-carat diamond ring on her finger. And she's accomplished in her own right despite Anthony. And I think that that bothers Marysol. Marysol and Alexia are low-key mean girls. So Nicole says, let me clear something up real quick. The people who worked on my house when we were building it, one of the people on the design team knows Marysol from high school. And he had asked me, what did I think of Lisa's house? So Lisa says, he's never been in my home. So Nicole says, girl, I don't know all that. All I know is that he's seen your home some way, somehow, okay? But he asked me what I thought about it, and all I said was, it's a bit over the top for my taste, but it's still a pretty home. That's it, that's all. So now Alexia interjects because she is hell-bent on saying that Nicole is lying, and she's like, that's not true, Nicole, and you know it, because when you and I went to dinner at the surf club, you and your soon-to-be husband, Anthony, were talking badly about Lisa's house and how it was tacky and how you guys hated the decor. So Nicole says, those words never came out of my mouth, like, stop. So now Alexia says, yes, they did, stop lying, and you and Anthony both said that her tiles were from China. So of course, Larsa has to interject because she wants a moment, and she says, well, you know, it's in poor taste for you to call me a hooker. So Nicole says, let's get one thing straight. I never called you a hooker. Like, stop saying that. So now Nicole says, you know what? Since y'all want to lie on me, I'm going to tell the truth about you, Alexia. She reveals that Alexia told her that Marysol only got married to have a storyline to be on the show. And we see that that didn't work because she's a friend of, and rightfully so. So Alexia's getting angry, and she's insisting that she would never talk about her best friend. I said there was something about Alexia in this moment that made me feel like she's lying. I could definitely see Alexia gossiping about her friend of 20 years to Nicole. You know how folks do. Girl, you know that's my girl and all, but I think that she got married for a storyline, but don't say anything. That's between me and you. I wouldn't be surprised. Alexia seemed way too guilty in this moment. I didn't buy it. I've always felt like Alexia regarded Marysol as a flunky and a yes man and not an actual friend. So I would not be surprised if she did say that. And I don't put it past Marysol because Marysol has never had a storyline, and the only reason why she got on the show was because of her mother. Mama Elsa made her interesting. Marysol's very boring. So this part one ends with Andy going around to ask the ladies if they've heard Nicole talking badly about anybody else, and nobody seems to answer. So that's where it all ends, y'all. And let me just say that the Miami ladies brought it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't see myself reviewing season 5. I'll watch, but I won't review. It's a cute franchise, but not enough interest, okay? But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.